Welcome, race fans, to the second episode of the Armchair Racer podcast. I am your host, Tommy Joe, alongside my co-host here,
Alex Reckless.
And we had Speedweeks this week. Speedweeks.
It's now a week.
It's a week.
Well, you say it was weeks, so you explain it was weeks because the Clash and this and that, but it was also Clash that went from weekend to weekend. Still 1 week. It was also the testing that made it the weeks.
Yes, it was the testing, and then you had the qualifying and the Clash or the shootout or whatever you want to call it, whatever your boomer heart desires. You would have that. The day of the date would change, but sometimes you'd have the Clash on Saturday and you had qualifying Sunday, and that would have been the week prior to the 500.
That
and
week,
then
weekend before.
Yeah,
so that was that week.
Yeah,
but what made it weeks was the weeks leading up testing, which they don't do it. I mean, they test because it's a new car. They're testing the car.
Well, actually, no.
But it's not at Daytona.
Yeah, they didn't test, and a certain someone in the garage was upset about that, which I could agree with. I don't like him, but Denny was upset that there wasn't practice before qualifying.
Yeah.
Because you had guys like Travis Pastrana making his first ever run in the next-gen car at Daytona just on the qualifying lap.
No, yeah, definitely.
Or you have guys like Connor Daly who never raced at a super speedway before, and he didn't even get to make a run.
No.
And he hardly even ran in the duels, and somehow
he got lucky with that.
He got into it.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll cover all the action or the boring action from the duels later on in this episode, but we wanted to get
let you guys get to know us.
Yeah, we want to let you guys get to know us a little bit better than you already do. So, my name is Tommy Joe, and we have Alex Reckless. We actually met in all places at church. Yeah. I was wearing a Jimmy Johnson jacket. He was wearing a Jeff Gordon jacket. And in central New Jersey, you don't see too much of NASCAR.
Never.
So I saw him, he saw me. We just had to at least make some kind of small talk. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what year that was. I think that would had to be the year before high school, right? Because I don't think it was that much longer after that.
Probably. Yeah, it was maybe the year or two
before
high school. Because going into high school, we in a lot of the same classes together, and we're like, hey, you wore that NASCAR jacket.
Yeah.
You wore, I was like, you wore the Dale jacket.
And the Jimmy Johnson jacket. You wore the Jeff Gordon jacket. And we were like,
was it the Jimmy or was it the Dale Jr.? The Junior. The Mountain Dew. You didn't have that?
Maybe I was wearing that one, because that would have been 2008 then. If I would have had that then.
Isn't that when right, that's right before.
I thought I would have been wearing the Jimmy Johnson jacket.
But 2008 is right before.
I was wearing the Dale Jr. jacket because you didn't like Dale Jr. back then. That's right.
Yeah, I don't remember why.
You hated Dale Jr. because it was the Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon controversy. You know, the big rivalry between them.
Yeah, but that was already long gone. I think it was just the fact that as I always thought, is he's running off his daddy's name.
I mean,
was he good? Yes, but
yeah, I mean, he's a lot better than others. I still like Dale Jr. He's my guy. I love listening to his podcast. I mean that podcast is a little bit of an inspiration for what we're doing right here. Mm-hmm. If you don't watch any of the Dirty Mo Media outlets, you should. There is tons and tons of content out there, and hopefully one day we could strive to be just an ounce of the content that they put out, because it's really good content. Mm-hmm.
So that's how we first met.
Yes.
In the church, because we both just happened to be wearing, like you said, the NASCAR jacket.
Yes.
And then we ended up actually going to the same high school.
We were from different towns, by the way, so the fact that we even ended up in the same school was interesting. We were both going for automotive.
Yes, that's the reason why I went to that school, because we went to Manalapan and they had a special automotive program. I became a fan of just cars in general from being a NASCAR fan. Yeah. And
I feel like that's a natural progression.
Yeah. And so they had they had it there for the district of the high schools that we lived in, and that's how it worked. And then we had a lot of classes together because we're both not the brightest.
I was they were both stupid.
Yeah. So we had a bunch of classes together.
I think the first class we had together was English.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
And we were kind of next to each other because I had W and you're R.
Just going down the road.
So we were kind of not too far from each other.
No.
And
so.
Yeah, I remember back in that class, I was like, hey, I'm going to buy a guitar. And you're like, do you even know how to play guitar? And I was like, no, I don't learn anyway.
I didn't. I barely played drums at that point.
You hardly play drums. I mean, I wouldn't even...
I did a little bit. Yeah. I didn't have a kit, but I was playing, the Kiss stuff.
Yes.
With somebody else's kit.
We would jam. You would play the freestyle in Guitar Hero or Rock Band, and I would play my guitar. I remember the first song we played together was Shoot the Thrill.
Yeah.
By AC/DC.
Yeah, and we made a silly video.
And then we did the other video with If You Want Blood in my room, remember?
Yes.
Which is somewhere on YouTube. If you could find it, good luck to you guys. It is out there. It's still up there. If you guys want to see Alex and I from high school, that's prime us,
Yes.
But how did you become a NASCAR fan, Alex?
So, in 1999, I remember because I was 6 years old, and I remember this because of one of the two drivers that I liked. So 1999, my family is just in the living room and they're scanning the TV, and they flick past the NASCAR race, and I'm like, go back, go back. I was like, I want to watch this. I don't know why. I wanted to watch NASCAR, and I started to like it. And then, so I was like, I'm 6 years old. I'm going to root for the 6 car, Mark Martin. So I had a couple of Mark Martin stuff. Not a lot, but a couple of things. And then watching that, 1999 was the last year of the Rainbow Warrior. I'm like, I like that car. I'm going to be a Jeff fan. Turns out, hey, no. Yeah. But, so I became a big Jeff Gordon fan because of the Rainbow Warrior, but I also was like rooting for...
That was a really cool car.
I mean, yeah.
But the Hot Rod Flames was still just as good.
Yeah. And, but yeah, so that's how I became a NASCAR fan, is just flicking through, and I got my dad into it. But flicking through the channels, I was like, go back. And, that's when I think it was still on ESPN, because they didn't go to Fox until 2001.
Would have been like ESPN or like TNT or something like that, or like TNN Sports.
I mean, they were all the same network channel. So, so that's that's when I started becoming a fan, and with the first year we went to a race was Pocono 2001.
Okay.
I think Bobby Labonte won that.
I can look it up right now, actually. My phone.
We didn't have great seats. We weren't that high up.
I don't think there is such thing as good seats at Pocono, to be honest.
You could sit high up.
Yeah.
Where you can see the whole track, but we were low where you couldn't see the whole track. We were right behind the flag stand. But the first full season that we watched was the first season when NASCAR was on Fox, and that was 2001. And
do you remember which race it was? Because they raced there twice.
Did Bobby Labonte win?
I think they had the Pocono 500 and then the Pennsylvania 500.
July? Is there a July race?
It's not giving me a date. Race number 15. June 17th. Okay, yeah, because they had the very short Pocono had the very shortest span between races,
which is why they decided to do that. They dropped it. I don't know. But yeah, so the first full season, and I do kind of remember we watched, the first race, first time watching it full was
Bobby Labonte.
Told you. The 2001 Daytona 500, and I do remember vividly watching the 20 car of Tony Stewart flipping end over end. That really, whenever I think of the big one, that's the wreck I think of, because that was a big wreck.
Yes, and ironically, Dale was like, if we keep driving around like this, someone's going to die.
And he ended up dying.
Yes. Maybe he's a visionary.
Yeah. But, so that's really how I got into it. And then my dad really, because he got into it. And we started going to a race every year. Since then, other than the no, because even...
Did you go to races I mean, there's one thing I wanna touch on later on. But when we went to Dover, when was your last race before that? When the first time we went to Dover? Did
My
you go
first time going to Dover?
No, like your last race before Dover. What was it? We went to 2017. You went to a race 2016?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like I said, I think every year I've gone to a race since Pocono 2001.
Oh.
But since we started, we haven't gone to Pocono since we started camping there.
Yeah.
But I've gone to every type of racetrack except for now the Roval or when they do the street course.
Yeah.
Because I've gone to all of the short tracks.
Well, not all of them.
Sans the Clash and the new Auto Club.
And maybe National Fairgrounds.
Well, all existing. I've been to Richmond, Martinsville, and Bristol. I did the Bristol on the dirt with you last year. I've been to Watkins Glen, so I've got the road course down. I've been to Daytona for the 500. I went to that. I went to when Jimmy won. Dover is classified as a short track. I've been to Texas for the All-Star race.
You did. That's right.
I went to that.
That was your first intermediate, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, because again, we don't count Dover as an intermediate.
No, it's not really intermediate.
And Michigan is bigger than an intermediate. It's a 2 mile.
Yeah. That's a speedway.
Yeah, I've been to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been to a lot of different types of tracks, and so I like to consider myself a pretty big fan.
Yeah,
so,
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I guess now it's my turn.
Yes, it's your turn.
Okay, so I don't exactly remember the first race that I watched. Like the first race I remember watching was the 2006 Daytona 500, but I remember pulling for Jimmy Johnson before the race, and my dad was a big Indy. He's not really an Indy car fan. He likes IndyCar, but he's an Indy 500 fan. Mm-hmm. He lives for that race.
Okay.
So I think I'm just piecing this together, but I think with just him being an IndyCar fan, like a race car fan, NASCAR would be on occasionally.
Okay.
And I remember for Christmas 2003, I'd gotten NASCAR Thunder 2003, which is
ever.
That soundtrack just lives rent free in my mind. Mm-hmm. Like that.
You start that game up in Magic Carpet Ride,
or get out of my car, get out of my dreams.
That wasn't that game. I thought that was.
That was 2003.
Huh.
Because I can hear
Yeah.
the sound effects in the game with that song.
Yes, you're right.
Like,
well, I just remember when it always, at least for me, when it
it
always
was
started.
it was probably Magic Carpet Ride, and then it probably
yeah.
went into
yeah.
No, just like the feedback of Magic Carpet Ride.
Uh-huh.
But then I think the next song was always Get Out of My Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And that song is a song that... So we do music, for those you don't know. That's always been a song that I've always wanted to cover.
I know.
That song just lives just rent-free in my head.
I know.
But anyway, I remember getting that game in 2003. And I don't remember the 2001 Daytona 500. I don't remember watching it. Like, I remember it was on. I don't really remember it. I was 6 at the time. However, I do remember my sister crying after Dale died. Mm-hmm. I don't really remember much. Like, I remember before he died, she had gotten a Dale Earnhardt clock that had like this little car on it. That
Yeah.
it was his car, and it would go around.
Yeah.
So like NASCAR's always been in my house. I just don't really remember. Like, I don't remember watching my first race. Like, I remember there's our first race I remember watching.
When you became a fan.
Yeah. Because like after that 2006 Daytona 500, I got subscriptions to NASCAR Illustrated, NASCAR Scene, like that. Like,
Yeah.
I was hooked on it.
I was getting those, because I even got NASCAR 2002, the EA, that EA game with Jeff on it.
I had a GameCube, so I remember they, for whatever reason, 2000 Thunder, NASCAR Thunder 2004 didn't get released on GameCube for whatever reason, and then 2005 did, and that, like, those two games are like core memories of my childhood. To the point where my girlfriend and I, Jill, we got a PS2, a GameCube, and we got a Wii, and I got 2002, 2003, 2004, 5, 6, and 7 for the PS2.
Because when I was a kid, I had PS2, so I had NASCAR 2002, NASCAR Thunder 2003, Thunder 04, 5, 6, 7, all of them.
Yeah.
Had them all, even the Heats.
Yes.
Heat 2000, Heat
Dirt
2002,
to Daytona
Dirt to Daytona
was another great one.
Yep. So, like, I was a fan, like, the whole 2000s.
Yes.
And I got rid of all of that and switched to Xbox 360.
Yes, I did too, because, growing up, I didn't really have a lot of money, so if I wanted to get something new, I had to get rid of something to get something new.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just how it was.
But I don't know how long ago, but a while ago, I went, and since I had the 360, I bought all of the, you distracted me.
I'm sorry.
I'm sure it's recording.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like it's recording, but I'm sure it is. I mean, if not, then I guess we'll have to do all this all over again. Or we'll just take the audio from the camera, which sounds terrible.
It is what it is. It's saying, it's just not... Yeah. I'm sure it's
just not big spikes.
So, I bought them all on Xbox. All from eBay or whatever. Yeah. And some of them didn't go... Xbox 360 didn't play some of them. So I went out and bought an Xbox. So, like, I nothing's hooked up, but I do have all of them.
Yeah.
And, because they're so good.
They are. Like, I was playing NASCAR 2005 the other day. It still holds up. Yeah. Like, if they could remake that game and just give it current gen graphics, that would fly off the shelves. Every NASCAR fan, you update the roster, you make it the same game, or even do Thunder 2004 or 2006. Just remaster it. And just give an option for, like, an updated, roster. That would fly off the shelf.
EA would do that with, like, NHL game.
Yeah.
Like, because, they're putting out a game every year. Sometimes they put updates, but since it's just little updates, they would, like, I would have a game that's, like, 2 years old, but you can just update the roster.
Yeah.
Because it's so much. I mean, I don't think NASCAR has an exclusive license anymore, right? For games?
I'm not really sure. Right now, so, a little bit off topic, but, on topic but off topic. Racing games are suffering massively.
Yeah.
Because of one company called Motorsport Games. They came out with a game in 2021 called NASCAR Ignition or NASCAR 21 Ignition, whatever it was. I don't have it. It was terrible. It was terrible. Mm-hmm. There were bugs. There's still bugs in that game. It's still not fixed. And Motorsport Games is bleeding money. They're losing people. Oh yeah, remember like a month ago, someone said that if they didn't get paid at Motorsport Games, they were going to release all the
something.
I don't do video shit, so I don't know what the fuck it is, but all, like, the fucking stems for, the games. Mm-hmm. I guess they got paid.
I guess so, because nothing ever came from that.
But IndyCar, stupidly, sorry, Roger, this is very stupid of you, they signed an exclusive deal with Motorsport Games, and they pulled out of iRacing.
That is a really dumb move.
That is really dumb, because now they can't run the Indy 500 anymore. They could still run the current car that they have. They could still run on...
The old car.
Well, the car that they have right now. They still have the rights for that. And they still have the rights to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
But they can't have the Indy 500.
Yeah, okay.
Which is so dumb, because that was such a big event,
But I don't think NASCAR doesn't technically have any exclusive rights.
I don't think so, but like right now, Motorsports Games is the only one with it. But I mean, there is a good outlook on the horizon because, whoever owns iRacing, I don't think it's still Papyrus, is it?
Yeah.
Whoever owns iRacing,
I don't think they're under Papyrus name, but
I think it's still just iRacing. It's still Papyrus.
Developers.
Yeah. They either bought or merged with Monster Games, and they came out with a dirt game. Mm-hmm. And that game's
Outlaw.
That game seemed to have some pretty good response to it. I don't have a lot of time to play games, but if they could kind of switch to that.
So
to bring it back full circle, I mean, what really got me into NASCAR was games.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have the games out there to get the younger generation playing it.
Right.
I mean, you need that. That's pivotal. I mean, you have MLB The Show, you have Madden, you have NHL, you have EA just got the rights to F1.
Did they?
Yeah. I'm sure there's. I'm sure it's not Tiger Woods PGA Golf anymore, but I'm sure there's still a golf game.
In 2005. 2005 was just EA.
EA was on fire.
Ball
on fire.
Chase for the Cup.
Yes.
Because that was NASCAR's first thing with Nextel
MVP
Cup.
Baseball.
MVP Baseball with Manny Ramirez on.
Yes.
That game was and because that was right after they won the championship. So that started with Boston. I'm sorry, but it started with the Dropkick Tessie.
Tessie, yes.
Oh my God, that
song does slap though.
Oh my God,
I hate Boston, but that song does slap.
2005 EA games, because also I think it was 2005 they had the Tiger Woods game, and that was like the stuff you could do on that was crazy. So EA was on top of the game in 2005, and after that they just stopped.
Because then they realized, hey, we'll just get the exclusive rights. No one else can make a game but us, and we don't have to put any money into it.
Yeah,
you know, like we'll just do a roster update, change some like of the menus, and it's a new game.
Yeah.
That's what EA does right now, which is terrible. But anyway, back to away from games and back to us. So my first race. So like I said, the first race I remember watching was the 2006 Daytona 500 where Jimmy Johnson won it, and then I remember really like following it. It's so popular over here. I remember really following it after 2006. Like I said, I got the NASCAR Illustrated magazine, which was the monthly magazine. And then a little bit after that, I got NASCAR Scene, which is when I realized that NASCAR Illustrated is just like the big topics from NASCAR Scene put into an actual magazine. Because NASCAR Scene was like a newspaper.
Yeah.
Which was weekly.
We always got to see.
I remember the first time hearing about the COT being like, what? Like, no way. Like, they're getting a wing and they're getting a front splitter. Like, no way. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Because like the internet wasn't really what it is now. Like,
no.
I mean, that stuff was out there, but I mean, back in 2006, I was 12. I didn't really know how to get it. You know, like
yeah.
But
back in that time, it was still just AIM.
Yeah.
At least for me.
And then I went to my first race that year, which was at the 2006 Brickyard 400. That race was so fucking hot. And I was sitting in the middle of turn 2, so you could see the cars come in from turn 2 and exit turn 2. Okay. Like you could see them come into, you could see them going into one, and then going down the back stretch.
Oh yes, okay.
And that was the race where I realized that seating matters.
Yes.
I mean, it was a cool view of the race. However, I like seeing pit road.
Yeah.
I like, because I feel like that's where a lot of the action is. You know, because I mean, okay, you can see corners. That's when I realized, okay, you want to sit higher up, and you might want to sit in the front stretch because you can catch a lot of the action that way. But that was the first race I went to. It was my dad, my sister, and my late uncle, and that's a race that just lives, you know, with me almost every day. Okay. I remember Jimmy's pit crew. There was a fire during one of the pit stops. Like the pit stall area went on fire. They leaked fuel, and he I guess a lug nut sparked and just lit all the fuel. I couldn't see it. Right. I was like, oh my god, that's fucking crazy.
They probably had a screen in front of you, right?
Yeah, there's a screen. I do remember though going to qualifying, and that was so, because for qualifying you could just sit wherever. So we were in the front stretch. Those cars going down that front stretch, just single car qualifying. That was the loudest thing I ever heard in my life. Like, it was ear piercing loud. And I guess where I was in like the middle of the corner.
So they were off the throttle.
So they were off throttle over there. Yeah. Back then I was like, oh, maybe it's just like more cars, more stuff for sound to bounce off of. But no, they were off throttle right there. Yeah. That's why it wasn't as loud. But them coming to the line, dude, those old engines were screaming, dude. And then after that, my next race was Pocono. I believe it was the second Pocono race. Kurt Busch won that race. And that's when I realized that I have power of who wins the races, because at Indy I bought a Jimmy Johnson diecast, and our friend Jack from Funts, he was a Kurt Busch fan, and I bought him something, and Kurt Busch won, and that's when I realized that I had the power to determine who wins these races.
It has always been like that.
Oh, it's always been like that, Alex. Always.
Man.
Just recently, when we went to Bristol, we ate M&Ms, not realizing it. And who won? Out of luck. Who won? Kyle Busch won. You know, like that. But yeah, let's see. After that, I went to. So I haven't been to as many races as you, but I remember going to. I went to Indy. I went to Daytona. Pocono, and then I went to Daytona. Where the first time I went to Daytona was for the Coke Sierra 400 back in 2008. Kyle Busch won that race, and then I don't think I bought it in the Kyle Busch because at that point I absolutely hated Kyle Busch with everything
Yes.
I had. Because, you know, I was a Dale Jr. fan and a Jimmy Johnson fan. And I guess I could kind of backtrack a little bit here. So, my sister was a Dale Earnhardt fan, so I became a Dale Jr. fan.
Yeah.
Playing NASCAR Thunder 2003, Jimmy Johnson was in the game, and he had the Looney Tunes paint scheme. I didn't like Looney Tunes. I don't know why I liked the car, but he had a Looney Tunes paint scheme, and I always raced that.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I just picked Jimmy as my guy.
Yeah.
And he just happens to be the next 7-time champion.
Yeah.
You know? So when the whole thing happened at Richmond with Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch, I was like, you know, fuck Kyle Busch, fuck him, he's a bitch,
Yeah.
he's a crybaby, yada yada yada. I was full Darth back then in my youth. I was a Darth. I'm not gonna lie, I was a Darth. That guy could do no right. You know, I all he did was wrong in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older, I started to realize, well, maybe he's really not that bad. You know, NASCAR needs that bad guy. You know. They had that with Dale Earnhardt, you know.
Yeah.
It needs
Are
that.
you comparing Kyle Busch to Dale Earnhardt?
Yes,
Oh.
they're both very aggressive drivers. I wouldn't say I love Kyle Busch, but I definitely don't hate him anymore, and he's a hell of a talent.
I never hated him.
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie.
I hate. You know who I hate? Brad Keselowski and
Yeah.
Joey Logano.
But we could both agree with Joey Logano.
Oh my god.
So going forward, I went to the next race I went to was the 2009 Coke 0400, where I was able to sit behind pit road. I went with my sister. That was a really fun race. Mm-hmm. The guy sitting next to me was a very large Tony Stewart fan. Now, I don't know if any of you remember the 2009 Coke 0400.
I sure don't.
That was the race where it was Tony and Kyle going for the win. Kyle goes up high, Tony goes down low. Tony gets a little bit of his nose in front of Kyle's rear bumper. Kyle goes down the block. Or Kyle goes up the block. That's what it was. Kyle goes up the block. And he goes right into the wall. And he gets fucking ran by fucking Casey Mears. And that dude next to me, like I said, a very large Tony Stewart fan, starts jumping up and down. I thought the bleachers were going to come down because this guy was so excited. And not only that, we were behind Tony Stewart's pit box.
Oh.
And at that race, you know what I bought?
Tony Stewart?
I bought a Tony Stewart hat for Adam.
Very wow.
Yeah.
The power.
The power of what I buy. And then I remember booing him as he walked down pit road. It was just great. The vibes were immaculate. And then after that was my last race for a while. And then I went to Dover 2012. Brad Keselowski won that race. And then that was it for a while.
Really?
That was it for a while. And then Alex and I had a little bit of a falling out. I mean, we're all good now, clearly, because we're doing this podcast. But we had a little bit of a falling out.
Still hate him.
We had a big disagreement over something that doesn't really matter anymore. But we had a big falling out, and Alex had and towards a couple months after it happened, maybe a month or two after it happened, Alex asked me if I wanted to go to Dover for the race. It was a last minute thing. I think he asked me like on a Friday. He asked me on a Saturday. Friday or Saturday. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go to a race with him. I'm still kind of mad. And I was like, fine, we'll go. And that race is probably one of my favorite races I've ever been to.
We were sitting low. We bought tickets
we
night.
bought tickets that night. And that was coincidentally was Jimmy Johnson's last win. That was his 83rd win at Dover. Well, his 83rd win, his 11th win at Dover. And honestly, like that, like NASCAR, like brought us back together. Because like we've been just tight since then, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were tight before, but you know, like we were like that race really was able to mend our friendship.
Us going to just because I think that was also the first year I went to 2 races.
Yeah.
Because I went probably with the one race with my dad, and then I wanted to go to this race. You didn't want to, so I was like, Tom, you want to go?
Yeah.
Last second.
And that
got cheap tickets. We were sitting low in the turn, but we were there.
That's when he introduced me to Steel Panther, and we were listening to Steel Panther on there down on the way. We got to the race late. We barely made the national anthem. I think we were still getting to our seats during the national anthem. But, you know, we made it. It was a great time. You know what I bought that day?
Jimmy?
I bought Jimmy Johnson stuff.
Nice.
And then after that, the next year, we went to Dover again. We were originally going to do the weekend, but you had the M3 festival. So I went with Jack. And that was fun. doing that with Jack. That was really fun. And then you ended up showing up on Sunday.
So the festival, M3 festival I went to was a Friday, Saturday festival. And it was in Maryland. So I was like, I'll still buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And for Sunday. And I got up nice and early, left. I was like, because I went to M3 with Andrew, my friend Andrew.
Yeah.
Shout out Dirty Saul. And I was like, all right, bye, Andrew. I'm out. Got there super fucking early. 8 o'clock?
You got there at 8 o'clock. You got there a lot earlier than I expected.
8 o'clock.
I didn't even start breakfast yet.
8 o'clock. Blasting Steel Panther.
Yes.
Blasting Steel Panther out of my car. And I pulled right up to the campsite. I was like, let's fucking go!
Fucking beer cans were falling out of your fucking car.
I was like, let's crack it open a beer.
We went right into partying. And you know what beer we both brought that day?
No.
Busch.
Oh.
You know who won that day?
Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, I have the power.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you really want a guy to win, just have me go to the race and I'll buy stuff and he'll win. I either buy it or use it.
When the year we camped and last year at Pocono.
Yes.
You and Jill bought something for her coworker.
That's right. That's
Denny
right.
Hamlin.
That's right. We bought. She bought him a Denny Hamlin hat. He won the race, and I
before he took the checker flag.
Yeah, he
first.
took the checker flag. He did. And I know we bought some. We had to buy. So one of us had to buy Chase.
I probably bought some Chase.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dude. It never fails. It never fails. Except for when I went to Daytona. When I went to Daytona back in 2019, my buddy bought a Ryan Blaney hat.
He didn't win.
You did.
Oh. Don't ask me anything about it. I just know I did this stuff. I don't remember anything about it.
But yeah. So now we the only time we missed the race was 2020. Since 2017, the only year we missed going to a race, was 2020, which was COVID.
They didn't have any in.
We could have gone to Bristol, but I mean, we couldn't swing it. And then
Dover didn't have any fans?
No.
Even at the second race?
Nope, and Pocono didn't have any fans. Because Pocono was the first doubleheader.
So then that was the only year I didn't go.
Yeah.
And then the year after we did Dover, they that's when they switched it. They got rid of the one Dover. They got rid of the Dover. They put in Nashville, and they made Pocono a doubleheader. That's when we camped. That was our first in-track camp for Pocono. And we went to Dover.
And I gotta say, Pocono is boring on TV. I'm not gonna lie to you. But if you're looking for a good time, you're looking for a party, you're looking for nice, loud music, good people, Pocono Infield is where it's at. If you're in the Northeast, or if you're in the Mid-Atlantic region, make your way to Pocono, because that place is one hell of a party.
It is really fun. They really take care of the fans there. There's a lot of amenities and activities for the fans inside the track to do and be entertained. You could see a lot of the action that goes on. And I love Pocono now. I love it because I don't watch it on TV. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And Pocono is not a race to go for one day.
No.
It's not. You gotta go.
Being
for the
in
weekend.
the stands, it sucks. And,
it does. I'm not gonna lie.
Getting in and out of the track, it's one way in and one way out. So camping, it's where it's at. And since they've done the doubleheader, the 2 years, well, not the double. Well,
just the single.
The first doubleheader and then the race weekend. Since they've come back, the camping has almost been sold out.
It sold out last year.
Okay.
And it was a hell of a time. I mean, we got there Thursday. We were able to unload and set up everything.
Yeah, we did it the day early.
That's gonna be loud.
The day early.
We did it the day early, and then we left Monday.
Yeah.
The only thing I think they could do better is a little bit better of emptying out the waste tanks. But I mean, everyone's trying to leave, so I mean, it is what it is.
That's those guys.
But
next time we're gonna get the Porta John.
Yeah.
And
we're just not gonna shit in the fucking.
Yeah.
We're just pissing there.
Yeah. Not even. Just go outside.
Yeah.
We're gonna be outside. It's just shower in there, because I'll save the water for that too.
Yeah.
All right, so you kind of know us now.
Yeah.
At least how we became fans. I don't know if you know us unless you try and look us up.
I have had some people that do know me, but not know me like friends that have listened to the first episode, first teaser episode we had. There's some pretty good comments on it. I appreciate everyone, each and everyone that listened to it, whether you loved it or hate it. I appreciate you guys for listening to us. It means a lot to us. I don't know what Alex is doing right now, but it means a lot to me at least. So I guess we could segue back into Daytona for right now.
Yeah.
So
regular episode talk now.
Yes. So we had qualifying. We had qualifying on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yesterday.
Yes. We had. Well, yesterday was duels.
What's today?
Today's Friday.
Oh.
This week.
It's Friday. Let's go.
Dude, I would say all week. Today, like all day, I feel like today feels like Wednesday. I don't know what the hell day it is anymore. So you had qualifying on Wednesday. To no surprise, Hendrick Motorsports was on the front row. But to a big surprise, Chase Elliott was way off pace. I think he ended up 14th or something like that.
Yeah.
But Alex Bowman has his either 5th or 6th consecutive front row start, which I think is now a record.
Which is really the only record he's going to get.
Yes. And I was talking about this in the group chat, our NASCAR group chat with so Fun's Fantasy. If you want to get into this fantasy league, hit us up. Either hit me up, hit Alex up, hit up Fun's. We'll get you in there.
If you hit me up, I'm going to send you right in. So just hit him up.
So just hit me up or hit up Fun's, and I'll get you in. It's going to be a very fun time. We'll all talk NASCAR, banter a little bit. We go back and forth. Not everyone's a fan of the same team. I know there's one guy in there that hates Hendrick Motorsports, and we love Hendrick Motorsports.
Didn't he say he just hates to hate? Like,
Logan?
Yeah.
Sorry to drop your name there, Logan. But no, he said he hates all things Hendrick Motorsports. Let me quote him, because I don't want to misquote him. I don't want to spread misinformation.
Did he say why? I thought
he said.
Who's he a fan of?
Harvick.
Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
People that are Kevin Harvick are just like, well, I don't know. How do you become a fan of Kevin Harvick after Dale Earnhardt? Do you just like Kevin after that?
I mean, he had a very fiery attitude. Where is it? I gotta see. Sorry, I'm being a little.
Yeah, so we have a fantasy league. This is our second.
So he said, and new guy, just in case you were unaware, I hate all things Hendrick Motorsports related. LOL.
He's just hate. You're just hating to hate.
I know. I mean, and then he goes on to say, where is it? He goes on to say,
this is our.
Yeah, most people I know that watch NASCAR are HMS fans. Just wish they'd open their eyes, but it's okay. I mean, I don't know, Logan. My eyes are wide open, and I still love Hendrick Motorsports.
He's just hating to hate. No other reason. So yeah, this is our first full season doing it. Last year we just did the playoffs. Yeah, we just did the
playoffs. Now we're going to do the full season. Bree won it last year. And she won it in an admirable fashion. Because I forgot exactly who she had. She just had to pick. She picked Joey. That's right. So it was Zach and Bree. And Zach picked Chase. She picked Joey. If she picked Chase, she still won. If she picked Chase, she won no matter what.
Yeah.
Because she had the extra point.
Yeah.
She not only did she admirably pick another guy and give Zach a fair chance, she picked the race winner.
The championship winner.
She picked the champion. I mean, props to her, you know?
I was the jinx of the playoffs last year for that.
Yes, you couldn't pick the right guy.
Every driver I picked had an issue the race I picked them. Every driver. Every race.
I'm going back a little bit to see if I can find the last results that I posted. I remember at one point I put like LMAO for Jack because he ran out of picks.
Yeah.
So you had Bree finishing with a 128 to Zach Daniels 120. And then after that, in third, you had Josh finishing with 113. My buddy Jeremy finishing with 111, who also had a very bad start, but he just got a couple of good. He had a couple of good picks there. And then you had, let's see, who else?
Excuse me.
You had Logan, who finished with a 103, and then it goes all the way down to me with a 96, Jack with a 92. He ran out of pick because he didn't pick right. And then you had all the way. Oh, I forgot about Joey. Can't forget about Joey. Joey had 94. He finished one spot below me, one hot spot ahead of Jack. Even though Jack did not have a guy to pick for Phoenix, this motherfucker still finished last with 89 points.
Every person I picked the right driver for every race.
He really did.
Every driver I picked, I don't usually look up stats. I looked up the stats. I'm like, this driver is strong at this track, and they still had a bad race. They got caught up in something happened.
He picked Harvick at Darlington. He got 2 points for that one. He picked Logano for Kansas. Got
and he
4
was
points
doing good in that
one.
race until he had problems.
He picked Kyle Busch for Bristol. He finished last.
He's so strong at Bristol. He got to a crash or something.
He picked Bell at Texas. He wrecked. I think he had a tire go. Then you picked Briscoe for Talladega.
That was just a random.
That was a random, but that still got you 10 points.
That's probably my best one.
No. Then you had Cendric at the Roval.
Yeah, well, he's a road course guy.
He gave you 10 points. But then your best finish was Chastain at Vegas. And you got 15 points.
I think that
and
was
you got a bonus
too.
point. I don't know what the bonus point was
Probably
for.
a stage win.
But you got bonus points out of 3 races. Like the semifinal round. Mm-hmm. You got bonus points in each race. You picked Byron at Homestead.
Because he's good.
That was a great pick. I mean, I think 13th is still good.
I think he was doing good and then got in trouble.
And then you had Hamlin at Martinsville. That's
Again,
another great pick.
That's his strong.
But still, you got 13 points there.
Yeah.
And then you picked Elliott at Phoenix, which, I mean, that's kind of what it was. But yeah.
Because I picked Logano early, so I had to pick Chase.
If anyone listening to this is interested, you have up until the start of the race for the 500 to make your pick.
Yeah.
If you want to come in, you have right up until the start of the race to make your pick, and you can come in and enjoy all season long.
So listen to
this.
this.
It's a free league.
Listen to what we say to make your pick.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know Zach's doing that.
So let's get into it.
Yes. So we had qualifying. Back to qualifying. I don't know how we got into the league, but we got back to qualifying. Hendrick Motorsports is on the front row. Again, big surprise.
Yeah.
Ever since, I think, 2014, they've been on the pole, except 1 year. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And even in 2013, Danica was on the pole with the Hendrick engine.
Yeah.
So qualifying was pretty much that. You had, so like I was saying before, Denny Hamlin was a big league against, big league, that word? He was majorly against not having practice, and that reared its ugly face in the very first car that went out, because you had Chandler Smith not even able to complete a lap because he had an issue. I think the issue was with his kill switch on the steering wheel. Every time it would fire up, it would shut right down. They ended up switching wheels, and he ended up going out. He didn't qualify for the race anyway, but I think the guys need practice, because you guys like Travis Pastrana is going right out on the track, just But hey, he had speed. He looked good.
Also, sidebar: I didn't watch any qualifying or duels.
Yeah,
this is all from Tom and me just looking online.
Yeah. So qualifying was pretty much that. Jimmy Johnson and Travis Pastrana had locked in on speed. Jimmy put up a pretty fast time. I think like when he went out, I think he was in the top 10 when he went out.
Of the cars that went.
Yeah, and then you got the duels. So the first duel, actually I was showing Alex the highlights of it, and it went from the driver from the the command to start the engines. It went right from that to 3 laps to go, because absolutely nothing happened in that. The Chevys decided to short pit. It bit them in the ass. They could never catch the Fords and the Toyotas. Joey Logano won that. His hair looked pretty good. His hair looked a little bit more like he didn't look like he was balding again. His
extra.
He looks younger now. And I gotta say, I know we beat up on Joey, but it does take a lot of guts to do that, and then just say that you did that. I mean, he very well could have been like, "What are you talking about? I didn't do anything to my hair."
It's so obvious and it's so bad.
There was the sign at the Clash. Ask Joey about hair transplant or whatever it was.
Ask Joey about his hair.
Yeah.
So bad.
And then the second duel. This is usually how the duels go. You have one duel that's very boring, and another one that has action in it.
Usually it's the first one where they're like, let's race.
Yes, usually the first one's balls to the walls, the clash, and they crash.
And then that race ends single file, and then the second race goes single file because they don't want to crash. But the first race, I watched, it was recorded, and I started it. I'm like, all right, now it's going on. Fast forward. I'm like, okay, they're single file. They're not doing anything.
I got to tell you, during the second clash, I keep going to the clash. I don't like you do that. During the second duel, I was getting scared because Brad Keselowski went right into bulldozer form, and
as he usually does.
He was just ramming in the back of Kyle Larson. I'm like, please don't wreck, please don't wreck. That didn't happen. But what did happen is that I guess Dana Suarez decided to go after Kyle Busch for bringing a gun into his homeland.
Yeah.
And decided to punt him right into the wall. I mean, obviously that wasn't Suarez's fault. It's just the Chevys, I mean, the Chevys don't line up right. They have that point. The Fords are good.
They got rid of it, but I watched the replays. But I watched the replays and he was pushing and he got a little outside, and he went to get back behind him, and he did.
Yeah,
he did the sweep.
That's a
any car's going to do that.
Yeah, that's a racing incident. I was interested though to see how Kyle would push, being from the Toyota going to the Chevy. I was expecting to see him push someone out of his way, but that never happened because he didn't have a chance. Mm-hmm. And that put Kyle Busch in a backup car, which, funnily enough,
Kyle Busch is the next day. He's in the 3 car.
Yes, Kyle Busch is racing Austin Dillon's backup car because I guess a lot of teams will just bring one backup car. But I just think it's interesting that they already had 3 on there.
Yeah.
Does Richard not have that high hopes for his grandson that he was going to wreck in the duels or something? Why is it 3 already on there?
He just wants Kyle to be the 3 car.
I guess so, Well, I mean, I guess he wants a winner in the 3 car, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And then after that happened, in that wreck, Travis Pastrana gets wrecked out. And Austin Hill gets wrecked out.
Yeah.
Travis is still locked in on time. But at the very beginning of that race, Connor Daly is having issues.
As you put it here, his car is twerking.
Yes, his car was twerking.
His car, ass shaking?
Yeah. So, it looked like it was an older car with, the solid axle. And it looked like it was bent. And the car was just hopping. It was. The car was just hopping. And they never said anything else about it up until that wreck happened. And Austin Hill wrecked out. He couldn't get out. And Connor was able to get the lap on him, which would put him as the highest finishing open car. Yeah. Which, to sidetrack a little bit here, make this make sense to me, Alex. So, the 2 fastest cars in the duel, in the qualifying, lock in on time.
Yeah. And
then now there's 4 cars vying for 2 spots. Mm-hmm. 2 cars in one, 2 cars in the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Jimmy Johnson was the highest finishing open car, who do you think gets in that race? Not a driver, but who do you think gets in? If Jimmy Johnson is the highest finishing open car, who raced their way in? You would think it would be the next highest finishing open car, right?
Yeah.
No. They go back to time for some reason. So the car that had the fastest lap in qualifying, he's locked in now. That doesn't make any sense. I can see like the gears trying to work, but there's nothing's going on.
Because Jimmy, I guess because he raced his way in, he doesn't need his fastest lap, so they just.
What I'm saying, if if Zane Smith was the highest finisher, he's in.
Yeah.
But because Jimmy Johnson, if he was the highest open car finisher,
Yeah.
the second highest doesn't get locked in. It's the fastest
Because
time.
you have to think of it. If Jimmy wasn't the highest finisher, he's still locked in.
I know, but but you would think it would just be like, okay, he's locked in. It doesn't matter. He's just racing for his starting spot in the 500.
Because there's still only so many spots that get in. So it's
Like, why use a qualifying time then? Why even use? It's just confusing. Luckily, that didn't happen. We didn't do that. Both Jimmy Johnson didn't do that well because he stuck with the Chevys and they were towards the back. But
I don't know. It's just what it is.
That was just weird. So you had Joey Logano winning the first duel, Eric Almirola winning the second duel. Surprisingly, Kyle Larson stayed up front a lot of that second duel, which I thought was interesting.
Most leaders, when with qualifying, when you get to the duel, when you qualify on the front row, you're locked into the front row, so you don't want to damage your car, so you fall back. Alex Bowman did that.
Yeah, and Bowman was also going in for a couple pit stops just to get the repetitions for the pit team crew,
so
and also getting used to pit road. Getting so he doesn't speed.
It was practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess he did that because he got shuffled around in the front. But I guess since Kyle, I don't know. I didn't watch, but he did. He stayed up there, and I don't know. He wanted to practice being in the draft, I guess. But yeah, usually leaders, the guys that qualify on the front row, they don't do that, and Kyle did because he risked his car getting.
I will say that the thing I do want to add is that Kyle Busch's time. This doesn't make sense to me. Kyle Busch's time got disallowed because he went below the double yellow. All right, sure. But when he started in the duels, he wasn't in the back.
Where was he?
Like in the middle of the pack, like up front towards the middle.
I don't know.
That's weird. So does that mean that his duel doesn't matter then? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter now. He's going to backup cars, so he's in the back anyway. But
I don't know.
Anyway, so to our next segment, Darf comment of the week.
I sent you a couple.
You did send me a couple.
Did you look at them? Did you like them?
Yes. Let me look at what you sent me here, and. Not really essentially a Darf comment, but one of the biggest things that I saw is, why is the dashboard pixelated? Why does it look like hentai?
That's the biggest topic with the Fox broadcast, because they'll show the visor cam, and a lot of the big things.
Some of them are visor cams, some of them are on the pillar.
Just inside.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing this year is the dashes are blurred. And Fox has apparently said that it's per the teams. They don't want the other teams to be able to see.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, NASCAR is like really one of the only sports that you can get so close to the action like that. Like you can't see the plays being called in football. You can't see the plays being called in baseball or hockey. Like you can get right up there with the team. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
And like NASCAR has the most invasive like cameras, it's literally right there, like you have an in-car cam, like you have a dash cam.
Some of these guys they have the camera, like a visor cam, it's on their helmet. It's just the teams, they're cheating.
Oh yeah, everyone's cheating.
They are.
Everyone's cheating except for my favorite team, because my favorite team plays by the rules and they're the good boys, and everyone else cheats.
And when they are cheating, if you aren't,
if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Right.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
If you're not pushing that envelope, you're not trying. Like I remember Jeff Gordon somewhere in an interview was like, oh, like if I ever went to my crew chief, was like, hey, how'd inspection go? And if they went, oh, we passed the flying colors, he'd be like, I'm kind of worried getting in that car because I don't think I'm gonna win. Like like everyone pushes the envelope.
Yeah.
Especially people like Richard Petty. Which everyone loves to fucking just, lull over. But, I mean, that's a topic for another time. But as far as Darf comments of the week, we have a gentleman here who actually was pretty active on a lot. On a lot, yeah. He said, "I told y'all for days that Travis Pastrami would get in the Daytona 500. Mr. Pastrami ain't playing around. He came to race and take that Harley Earl trophy and get on the cover of Sports Illustrated." That he did.
Okay.
He did.
He's had a couple.
Yeah, do you have another one?
Same dude. RCR hasn't won a championship since 1994.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch is a great driver, although not quite as good as Joey two-time Logano. Kyle Busch is
also another two-time champion.
But he will never win a championship in an RCR Chevy. I think he will. The Ace Dillon will have a better shot than Kyle because Ace has the Big E's blessing. Austin Dillon is not good.
No.
He's not.
He's not. He gets lucky.
Yeah.
He gets lucky.
He doesn't have.
And here's another one. This is so the post was a new look. Sorry, I'm retarded. A new McDonald's look for 2311's racing and Bubba Wallace's this season. So I butchered that. I'm gonna say it again. A new McDonald's look for 2311 Racing and Bubba Wallace this season.
And it's a very boring. Someone compared it to what the new McDonald's buildings look like. It's just a great.
It's very boring. Actually, Wendy's took a shot at McDonald's over that. They did.
They did.
So this gentleman commented, "Slow food service Bubba Wallace and McDonald's might have pickle juice on the racetrack at Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I got a pit. We're eating ice cream. Ice cream."
What?
Go say it again.
None of that was just like.
Slow food service Bubba Wallace and McDonald's might have pickle juice on the racetrack at Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I got a pit. We're eating ice cream. Ice cream.
I got a pit. We're eating ice cream.
Like, I think he was trying to, like, make a callback to Days of Thunder.
Okay, but
where like, hey, I got a pit. Like, oh, don't pit right now. We're eating ice cream.
But the whole thing, because it's also you the way you read it. It's a whole run-on sentence, and it's just, oh man, a lot of we love the Darth comments.
Oh,
yeah,
I love that. Right now, I'm just looking at a picture of you can see the embossed 3 under the 8.
I don't know. I told you, like when we do these videos, like you gotta put like the little things, like I don't know if you've done that yet, but you gotta put Rawi Creek, Rawi Seek.
I got a little shitposting page.
Oh my god.
Well, actually, we're on a car this year for Brian. I believe it's Brian Laster.
I'm not. But
well, I'm not on it either. But our page is on it. The page that we're in. Shitposting's on it. The 03 Ford in the Arkham Menard series.
Did we touch on what cars racing in ARCA for this Daytona?
No. But, you know what I just realized?
What?
Finally, it's fucking Casey Kane Friday.
It's Casey Kane Friday.
It's Casey Kane Friday.
Since it's Daytona, do we want to, and we were talking about that 3 car, do we want to touch on what cars racing in ARCA this season? This 500?
Oh, yeah.
So
how long are we going so far right now? This is we're just eclipsing an hour here.
Okay, that's fine.
That's fine. So we've run out of topics to talk about. Everything we kind of almost got everything here, but
I mean, there's the race preview.
So we have a very
one of the big topics. Driver announcements in ARCA was actor Frankie Muniz.
Child actor Frankie Muniz, because I don't think he's even acted as an adult. But yes, Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle is racing in the ARCA race at Daytona.
This is not his first time racing. He's raced.
Yeah. He's always wanted to race. He's always been a NASCAR fan.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he was such a NASCAR fan that when Malcolm in the Middle first came out, it was on Fox. And what else was on Fox in 2001?
NASCAR.
The Daytona 500. So, Fox brought along Frankie Muniz to the Daytona 500 so he can meet stars like Sterling Marling and Ken Schrader and Dale Earnhardt Sr. He spent the day with Ken Schrader's pit crew on the pit box, and Frankie Muniz was one of the last people to meet Dale Sr. And Frankie Muniz always tells a story that that he was very he couldn't believe he got to meet him, and he was even more surprised because Dale told him how much he loved the show and how much like his daughter Taylor and him watched the show together, and it is something that brought them together, and he always loved that.
I didn't see that interview, but that's really cool.
And Frankie Muniz was with the 36 team. He was wearing an M&M's jacket, and it was signed by Dale Earnhardt, Ken Schrader, and Sterling Marlin.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God, that's insane.
And this there's another layer to this because Frankie Muniz is race. So in the ARC Menard series, they race older chassis.
They do, yeah. They're still racing those. What, the Gen 4, which is
Frankie Muniz is racing the same chassis that Sterling Marlin was racing in the 2001 Daytona 500.
He's racing
the same chassis.
Yeah,
that is crazy. Like, you don't have to believe in God order, but there has to be something somewhere calling these shots, because that doesn't just fucking happen.
No.
I mean, like,
I didn't even know about the whole jacket thing.
Yeah, I found out about that like in one of the interviews he did most recently.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, that's crazy, dude. That's fucking crazy. Like, someone's gonna die. like. That's crazy.
What's the number 3 ARCA car? Keep that car.
Well, Brian. Is it Brian? I'm going to feel really dumb if it's not Brian. Brayton. Wow, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, Brayton. It's Brayton Laster driving the 03 car.
All right, Brayton, don't be in front of...
Yeah, don't be in front of Frankie Muniz. Please. Terry the Fat Shark will protect you. We'll order you a pizza.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, any 500 preview?
So, what kind of racing do you think we will see at the 500? I think we will see cars go meow, 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 meow.
We will see the signature single file.
Yes, I think what's going to happen is, and this is going to be a pretty far reach here, I think what's going to happen is that the teams are going to start very aggressive. And there's going to be a lot of bumping, a lot of banging. And then there's going to be a big wreck. Not the big one, but there's going to be a big wreck. Big enough for everyone to be like, maybe we shouldn't be racing like this. And they're going to go single file all the way through stage 1, stage 2, and the better half of stage 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to realize, oh, well, fuck, there's like 20 laps left. I have to work my way up to the front. And then it's going to be caution every lap.
Yeah. That's every Daytona. That's every super
I don't
speedway.
think anyone who is a regular at super speedways is going to win this race. It's going to be won by a guy that lucks his way in.
I said this on the last one.
I know you're not a fan of super speedway racing.
It's the same bullshit every year.
Yeah.
Who's your pick?
Who's my pick? So in my fantasy league, I'm going with Jimmy Johnson. Realistically, I'm gonna go with. Ryan Blaney.
Okay. My pick is in the fantasy league is Bubba, and I could say
that's a good pick.
I could say realistically that could be Bubba because
he's always there.
He's got a super speedway win now. He's always, like you said, he's always at the top at super speedway. So and even in the duel, he was showing some speed.
Yes.
So
he was up there. I think he's finished second in 40% of his 500s.
So I think he has a very good chance at finishing well and winning.
I think Kyle Busch is going. I think either Kyle Busch or Joey Logano are going to be the ones that cause a big one.
Brad Keselowski or Joey Logano are going to be the one that causes a big one because they don't brake for nobody.
No, never.
Don't block them. Don't block them. They won't slow down. They're assholes. Yeah, they suck.
And then Brad ends up getting the fucking shit, the short end of the stick because he's a fucking dick when it comes to super speeder racing.
I don't like him.
So out of all this coming, we have the 75th anniversary of NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking forward to most of this race weekend?
This weekend? just NASCAR's back. I'm happy to see that. Yep, I'm happy to just see cars on track. The cars all look so good.
They do.
There's already, they're already, a big thing with NASCAR this recently is the different sponsors sharing the cars. There's like those.
Yes, I just made a face. I can see myself.
There's still kind of those like main primary sponsors, but a lot of them have been split up. But this even just for the 500, there are some cool paint schemes, and seeing these cars looks so good. The 43 for Legacy Motor Club.
Yes, the 43, the Guns N' Roses car, completely out of nowhere. Like
just all of a sudden they're just in that
they announced it on Valentine's Day that they're going to release a paint scheme at 6:30 or whatever. Yeah. And there's roses on the car. I'm like, okay, it's Valentine's Day.
But then you start hearing the welcome to the jungle.
Don't even think about Guns N' Roses.
And there's nothing else on. There's like some of the
just Guns N' Roses.
It's Guns N' Roses, and it looks so cool. It looks so good.
Noah's Wendy's scheme looks fucking fire.
Compared to
one, yeah.
Like you said, Wendy's even made a shot on it on Twitter.
I mean, Wendy's social media is known to be, aggressive. But even Jimmy's Carvana car looks pretty good. I'm really glad that with the Legacy Motor Club that they got rid of that like petty swoop or wherever it was, where it was like
STP just announced that they're still going to be with the team and the 43. So they're still going to have
they do STP, they do that, but I'm saying like that swoop because they put it on every car. Every paint scheme would have, like, remember with like DEI, they'd have the E or the 3 depending on which way you're looking at it.
The stripes.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess but I think you at least on the STP scheme.
Yeah, that's fine. Because I really feel like it really freed up what they could do with the car. Yeah. Because like that Carvana paint scheme looks pretty good too. Yeah. I like that.
There's some good looking cars out on the track. Yeah. I'm
trying to think of what else is the Travis Pastrana car with the flannel.
Yeah,
that looks
Travis's like thing is plaid and flannel, and so his Black Rifle car.
Yeah. Because he's also sponsored by Dixon.
Yeah,
which is the flannel company. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a way of them getting like majority sponsor on the car, while also having Black Rifle coffee on the car.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see all the cars in racing.
I mean, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. We're actually gonna be watching the race together.
Yeah, at my house where we are, just not here in my room. Yeah. We're hosting a little party. Me and my dad's cousin, some friends, and it's be having hot dogs.
Zach might make an appearance.
Oh, I get to meet Zach. Have I met Zach?
Yeah.
I did?
Yeah.
When?
At the bowling alley.
For what?
From Funds.
What did Funds do at the bowling alley?
We'll talk about that off screen.
Apologies, Zach. But if anybody personally knows me, my memory doesn't exist. It does not exist.
It's very...
What did Funds do at the bowling alley?
We tried recording an episode after bowling.
Where?
And at the bar.
Oh my god. Okay, I remember now. I'm sorry. I do. Okay. Now. Okay. That memory was just, it was just one time. I'm like, it's coming back to me now. You had to say it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now I remember. Okay. Yes.
But anyway, and we'll be doing an impromptu episode right after the 500.
We are?
Yeah.
We're not doing the Tuesday?
I won't be available Tuesday.
Okay.
We're doing a fresh episode right after, quick episode just about the 500. That's it. All it's going to be about is about the 500.
Okay.
I mean, we're all going to be here, so.
Yeah, sounds good. we'll do that.
Yeah.
Um,
So I guess time to start wrapping this bad boy up. I am your host, Tommy Joe, alongside my co-host here,
Alex Reckless.
and this has been episode 2 of the Armchairs Racer podcast. Good night and good luck.